everybody. It's a day after Easter, and we're all feeling tired. Anyway, Drew's in the back, checking levels. Not really sure what he's doing back there. Making me sweat up here by myself. Don't know if anybody's paying attention. All right, honey, get over here. Anyway, he's checking stuff, making sure that we're streaming on all the things.
Yeah, you're live.
All right. Good morning.
You can see this guy, right? The screen?
I can see the screen, yes.
With the chats.
I can. It's just a little small for me to read, but I think that's just happening because I'm a little older now, and I can't see not as clearly as I could before. Not that I ever wore my glasses, but here we are. All right. Hope everybody had a great holiday. Interesting enough, I have one at home and one at school today. The mix-up of or not aligning the schedules is sometimes a little frustrating. You know, I always wonder how it is that we have the day after Super Bowl off, but not the day after like a major holiday. Everyone's a little tired today, right? Everybody barbecued, celebrated a little bit. And so that's that. And then bright and early, the emails started coming in. So people are working and getting back to it. All right, honey, get over here.
I'm working on it.
I think, what are we talking about today?
Cool your jets.
It's always these couple of minutes where we start off that it's just awkward. Awkward.
All right, let's see if this goes.
Do you have a list of topics?
Mm-hmm.
You do? What do you want to talk about today?
I don't remember. That's why I write it down.
I was going to say, give me something to chew the grass with. Is that the right term? Chew the grass?
Chew the cud?
Chew the cud. Full of a lot of fun, zingers. Aunt Tutu's at home. Shout out to Val at the house holding down the fort. She's got 2 pups and a fleet. I'm sure I'll start getting pinged with text messages in a minute. Did you ask her or did you just leave the kid?
I just left it.
You just left? You have to ask. I don't know where he's going, and now I'm completely alone in this office. Because you have to ask. It's rude to just assume. What if she was going to step out? What if she was going to finally take a shower today? Could be interfering with her, with whatever she's got going on.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see your face.
What's up?
I feel like you've been a little under the weather, so.
Dude, my stomach's all jacked up, man.
You went from bright-eyed and bushy-tailed yesterday to.
I know, and it sucked because I was sitting in the pool.
Ew, did it happen in the pool?
Yeah, dude, I sharted in the pool.
Ew.
No, man, but our friends came over, and as soon as they came over, I was like, hey, what's up? And all of a sudden, my stomach went, and I went, oh, I got to run. And ever since then, it hasn't been the same.
Yeah, and you didn't even hang out.
No, dude, I had to bail.
You were in the bathroom the whole time.
No, man, it hurt. Anyway, we don't need to talk about it.
No, we don't need to talk about your gastro problems.
That's true. You can't pee water out your butt.
Ew. That's gross, and yet I'm laughing.
Yep.
All right.
I'm trying to bring up a list of topics.
A list of topics. Give them to me,
Oh,
please.
for the day.
Give me the list of topics.
Well, let's see. Look, we got some people online. Like Mario's online. We've got the RGV dads are on here.
I don't know where you see this. I don't have access.
I'm looking at Instagram on here. You can barely see it.
I can't see any of that stuff.
Yeah, man.
I'm not a name person on that account, so I can't see it.
Howdy, you two. Well, hello.
Howdy. Good morning.
Yeah, man. What a Easter
what
Sunday.
Yeah, Easter was fun.
It's April Fool's Day. Any good April Fool's pranks?
I haven't had any yet. I didn't even realize it was April Fool's.
Just kidding. It's not April Fool's. Just kidding. It is April Fool's.
I don't know any good pranks. I mean, what's a decent prank? Like nothing horrendous. Some people do some awful things.
I remember we let's see. There's a fun office ones. Oh, you're going to the office today, right?
I've already been to the office, Drew.
Go inside the men's toilet
Oh, okay.
and wrap the bowl
Not
in
touching that
saran
bowl.
wrap and then put the seat down, and they'll never know.
That's not going to happen today.
It's hilarious. So I worked in an office one time in Dallas, and we had the best pranks.
Did they do that?
No, we did all we did all kinds of stupid crap. My favorite one was one of the guys wired the horn trigger to the brake pedal of a service truck. And so when the guy got in the service truck, the first thing you do when you get in a car is you put your foot on the brake.
Right.
And as soon as he got in, I went, and he he jumped. And then he was trying to figure out what was going on. And every time he touched the brake pedal, the horn would honk.
See, that's harmless. That's not a big deal.
Then we took the service manager's entire office and we took it apart and we rebuilt it inside the main lobby area of the...
Because you have nothing else to do?
Oh, dude, it didn't take that long. Like 4 of us. It was awesome.
That's funny. Yeah. No, I don't... Our office is not pranky.
We've wrapped someone's car in saran wrap.
We're very serious.
I wrapped Miguel in saran wrap one time. Like big ship... Like, you have the big shipping saran wrap
he was
stuff.
Awake and he knew?
Miggs was sitting at his desk, and I walked up behind him, and I wrapped him up at his desk real quick, and he was stuck in like a little cocoon.
That's funny. No, I don't... We've never done any pranks. I don't have any pranks in the office, and... No one has even as so much as looked up from their desk this morning.
No,
everyone's busy.
Good morning to the RGV Dads group. I was rocking my RGV Dads hat this weekend.
Yeah, you wear it often.
At an Easter bunny or an Easter egg hunt thing, and someone asked me, "What is RGV Dads?" I said, "It's a cool little collective of dads who get together and chit chat with each other and find dad shit to do.
Dad stuff.
And it doesn't have to. It's not just for single dads." Which was the big, like, that's the big thing. I thought it was like a single dad. It's not, dude.
No,
it's just like I'm married. And we're like, oh, yeah. But RGV Dads is a fantastic nonprofit down here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Did you know that you can be a dad if you're married or not married?
Yeah. So RGV Dads is a fantastic nonprofit down here in the Rio Grande Valley, and Jesus runs it. And they do a lot of really cool outreach with dads. Pretty much every Saturday, you can find them at Home Depot building.
I'm curious to know. I have a question for the RGV Dad group. I'd like to know
building a project or a birdhouse or something. Queen of Interrupters this morning.
Well, because
so much for sound bites, everybody.
Just this morning,
trying to get little snippets that I could take and post elsewhere.
Oh, here we go. It's gonna be one of these mornings. God. Okay, Drew, you just tap me on the shoulder when you're ready for me to talk.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to know the age range that participates in that
for
group.
Dads?
No, in that particular group.
Of dads or children?
Of dads.
I don't know.
Like, are there young dads? Are they old dads? What's the average age of the member at RGV Dads?
I don't know. Let's see. He'll probably answer here in just a second.
I'm just curious. How do we get the young dads more involved? Or is it the old dads that need to be more involved?
No, I don't know. I wonder who is least involved.
I wouldn't know.
The San Carlos, the Kite Festival, April 6th in San Carlos, Texas, starts at 8 a.m. Averages in the 30s, he says. Oh. Young and old dads. What about the eclipse, though? Isn't this eclipse weekend? Can't be. It's Monday, right? Is the eclipse?
I don't know.
Am I totally wrong on this?
I have no idea. I do know that your Uncle Bill was so nice and sent us the eclipse glasses.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about the eclipse, is it a full eclipse? Like it's going to go completely
dark?
It is
a total solar eclipse. It's April 8th. It's 1 week from today.
Okay.
April 8th, 2024. A total solar eclipse will cross North America, passing over Mexico, United States, and Canada. We're in the little line of 100% coverage.
So we can expect for it to go completely
a little
dark?
bit north of us, like Uvalde and
like
we'll see like
98%,
something like that. Dark. It's
like nighttime?
No, like
I'm just mentally preparing myself.
Not like completely dark. We just went through one of these a couple months ago.
And there wasn't even. It was like cloudy, maybe.
Well, imagine you're back in the olden times and that happens. You'd freak out.
So the story of Moses on Netflix,
for real,
was
how awesome,
amazing.
Dude.
It really was. So, not to. Like, it's not, I guess it's not weird, but I'm not really into, like, let me watch all of the religious films. And this was exceptionally done. It was really easy to follow. And
the kids liked it?
The kids loved it. And it was engaging. And then just when you couldn't really understand, when there was something that didn't make entirely any sense, because it's a biblical story and it's being reenacted, there were commentary. The commentary was excellent.
The rabbis and
pastors, and it explained so well the story or what they were thinking, right? And made it into something that we could relate to.
Yeah, it was.
I found it really
good. It was
good.
really done.
Yeah.
It was
Very,
really
very
done.
well done.
It was really done. It was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even talk this morning, man.
Are you putting the eclipse path?
Yeah, I was going to
behind
show it to you so you could see it, but I don't remember where to go to screen sharing.
I just had this hiccup. I was on a Google Meets, and I don't ever meet on Google, and I couldn't figure out how to share my screen. We had to stop and get on Teams.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, I hate that everyone uses. There's so many different. Everyone
I
uses
like
something
Teams.
different. Teams is okay, but it's like everyone uses something different. It's like Teams here and then Zoom here and
Well,
then here and then there.
did you know that even if you're an external person, you can still log in? You can still get onto Teams as long as you have Teams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look, there you go. Can you see it behind me now?
Oh, I can see it behind you now.
There you go. So here we are. It says about between 12:30 and 1:30. It's like I said, it's a little bit north of us. We're gonna see something, but that's the money right there.
Do you remember seeing any eclipses before this last one?
Of course.
When we were in,
We
I
were
want to say it
kids.
was like in 5th grade or something.
Oh no, there's been a bunch.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm older than you.
I was going to say,
I've seen the sun
Hey,
in many different ways.
So Nola and I were talking about, this morning we were talking about theater. And so how she wants to maybe pursue theater now instead of choir. We were going back and forth whether or not she was going to take whatever elective, right? And so she said she's loving, obviously, the Hamilton musical.
Oh my God!
so
I told her.
much
I
that
said,
she's
"Hey,"
memorized everything.
I said, "You've got to quit playing Hamilton
So
in the
I
car."
told her, why don't
like,
we
I'm so
expand
sick
our
of Hamilton.
horizons and learn a different musical?
That's what I
And
told
so
her.
I talked about some of my favorites.
And she said,
and
"What?"
so-
She asked me, "What would you say?" And I said, "Well, cats. Start with cats." She goes, "Ew, I don't want to see a bunch of furries."
Wow.
I
Really?
was like, yeah, that's our
That's
daughter.
what she said?
Yeah. Yeah.
She knows what
So
knows
much
what
for
furries
that.
are?
Memories. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, did you expand on that? Because
No,
I said rent.
I walked
and
right
then,
past that.
Oh, well, because I said rent,
No
and then I
way, dude.
realized, oh, that's probably not appropriate for her. But it
Nothing's
opened up the
appropriate.
conversation to talk about the HIV and AIDS pandemic.
Let her play Hamilton.
So
No. So no, hold on. Let me go back on that.
What?
Hamilton's great. Love
Oh,
Hamilton.
Hamilton's
We've taken her to
amazing.
see Hamilton.
Yes.
She loves it.
Absolutely.
The problem is she plays it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, completely nonstop. And it's like, oh my God. So it's nonstop Hamilton. I'm like, that's cool 10 years ago. You
well,
know what I mean?
and she's got it all memorized now, and
She
so I
has
said
it
it's
all
time to
memorized.
move. It's
Yes.
time to move on. Wicked is a good one, Amy. I hadn't even thought about that, but it would be excellent for her to watch. But like I said, I opened my mouth and I was like, well, I loved Rent. But how old was I when I watched that? And it is also about, the crisis. And so I had to go down that rabbit hole. She's like, well, what is that? What is HIV? So that's a conversation we had on the way to school this morning.
About HIV? You talked about the
Yeah,
HIV?
We
Whoa,
did.
Okay.
Talked about sexually transmitted
Yeah,
diseases.
dude.
How that was spread through intravenous drug use. And she just kind of looked at me. Her eyes got bigger and bigger. Like, what in the world? And I was like, yeah, I realize it's really not age appropriate, but you should know. I mean, these things happen. She's like, okay, Mom. And
Our
then
conversations are drastically.
I had to tell
dramatically
her, hey, this is not for you to inform other people. This is just a conversation. I'm
Anytime
having
we
with
say that,
you.
she's going to run to her friends and be like,
And-
hey, you know what my mom told me?
My mom told me.
was talking about needles and
Yeah. So
unprotected sex this
okay,
morning.
but I'm gonna follow Amy's cue here and go with Wicked. So I'll play that for her later.
There you go.
Let her
Can't go wrong.
kind of jam.
So,
that.
okay, here's my list. I have my list open now.
Okay, let's talk about your list.
Interesting things. Ozempic maker Novo Nordisk is facing pressure as a study finds that the $1,000 appetite suppressant, everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ozempic.
Yeah.
Is made for less than $5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
The blockbuster drug could be manufactured for 89 cents. And
And
as
they
high as
sell it for
$4.73 for a
$1,000?
month's supply. Figures that include a profit margin. Researchers at Yale University, King's College Hospital in London, and the nonprofit Doctors Without Borders reported in the JAMA network open. It compares the monthly U.S. list prices for $968.52 for a weekly injection of Ozempic. And their cost is only $5. How fantastic is that?
Makes me want to.
Pharma bros, man. It's like, why aren't we selling? Why do we never get into? Hey, no, like real talk. How come
Why?
we never got into sales? Either one of us. And now we're in our 40s, and you figured out how to do it, and I'm on the cusp of
I
looking
don't know
at
if
something.
I'm so good at sales though.
I'm like, dude, but there's so much. There's so many salespeople that are just not that good at what they do,
And they're still really great.
and they're making
still really
like they're
good.
banking it.
I don't know. I always felt like a calling, like a passion. I wanted to have something that I found
Didn't make money.
Yeah, that
That's
didn't
me,
that
man.
didn't make.
I always wanted to be so great for the world and not make any money whatsoever.
I just want to change the world.
Fuck.
And no, and even now it is it is sales, but it's also something that it's helpful.
I feel like what you're doing is cool because it's helping people,
It's
and I feel like
helpful.
this thing that I'm looking at, that I've got a conversation about this week, is fun because it's
helpful.
helpful. But man, I look at salespeople and I go, dang. I know lots of salespeople.
But there's also like interesting sales, but like pharmaceutical sales. If you're selling a really cool drug, that could
what
be
was
really
that movie
fun.
that we watched? The one about
Oh no, but that was terrible. That was the
Xanax.
opioid
Yeah,
crisis.
it
that
was,
was for
whatever
no
it was.
OxyContin.
Yeah, dude. The
That movie was
OxyContin
insane. And you can't live with yourself selling that stuff.
Can you on
I
a
mean-
really big island all by yourself with a huge house?
I don't think it's.
I just want you to
ethical.
know real quick to go back just because the comments do this. Madhu was reminding anyone who's pregnant to make sure that they take out a safety pin and put it on their clothes during the eclipse. Because if you're in South Texas,
I love that.
you'll protect your baby.
I love that. Shout out to all the pregos. Make sure you put that safety pin on your clothes. That's
or
funny.
they'll get a cleft
That's
lip.
a cleft
Isn't that
lip
what
or
it is?
something like that. I don't know the old wives' tale, but yes, it is something like
I thought
that.
that was interesting from the drug stuff. There was another drug thing that
I love, you know what? So I'm really loving this list of musicals that's come up, right? So people who are listening, Wicked, Cabaret. Michael says Cabaret. I forgot he sings. Did you know Michael sings?
who?
Michael.
Michael who?
Oh, we're not supposed to name names.
Dude, hey.
I know,
Real
sorry.
talk, you've named already like 5 names.
Well, it's because they're commenting.
Sweetheart, you are not supposed to name names
Okay,
anymore.
I'm not. But if you look
me.
at the comment section.
No more naming names.
Okay,
We've already
sorry.
gotten text messages from people saying, hey, please don't name names. You're going to regret saying names.
I didn't get any of those messages.
I did. Let's not name names.
Who told you that?
I'm not going to tell
Who
you.
sent you
I
a
already
text
sent it to you.
message?
But don't name
Who
names.
sent you a text
Stop
message?
naming names.
Who was it?
Oh, I get all kinds of messages.
Tell
Oh, my
me.
God. You know who I got a message from? You better not look at my Snapchat.
Oh God.
Team Snapchat. Send me some more
You're
Snapchats.
so ridiculous. Anyway, yes, we have a friend that's got musical stylings. Musicals. So we'll have to pick his brain.
The musicals. Welcome to 2024. We not only have alpha male influencers, we now have. Tell me you've heard about this one so
No, I
far.
don't know what you're talking about.
Alpha male boot camps. For $18,000, you can attend an alpha male boot camp where they will treat you like a Navy SEAL. What we're going to do is we're going to take a second to watch this real quick.
What?
'Cause I
What
want you
is
to see
I've
this.
never seen this.
Oh, no. This is a 3-day alpha male boot camp is seeing attendees mocked
What
online
does this say about
for paying
society?
$18,000. Oh, yeah. It's real good, dude. No,
Well, you used to have your parents that kind of,
What?
Like-
Alpha male do you?
well, no, like put you through the ringer if you were doing bad things. Is
No.
this what this is about?
No, these are people that don't feel like they are embracing their alpha male side. So they want to go do something that makes them feel like a man. And
I
so
don't get it.
so they do stuff like
What on earth is this?
yeah, they make them like crawl around and
This is manly?
it's manly. I don't know how that music got on there. Anyway, so there's a video of them like laying in between railroad tracks, like rocking back and
rocks?
forth on rocks. Yeah, did you hear the music?
This is absurd. Okay, but hold on. Let's debunk this for just a second.
No, there's no debunking.
What type of person wants to go to this camp?
After last week's camp, the company has completed 19 MDK projects. The 20th will be going down in October. If you're interested, be careful because you might be kicked out at any point. That's right. You've paid $18,000 for 75 hours of life-changing advice, but you're a beta in hour 17, you will be sent home. And so they like do waterboarding and they do all kinds of other stuff to like make it.
And who are we trusting to do this? Wow. I don't, you're really loud. Wow. I don't know what to say. Okay, turn it off. We're done. Turn it off.
That's great, right?
No, not really. I'm not. I'm wondering what is lacking that you feel like you have to go to this.
Yeah, that's part of that conversation.
Like, I understand, because it looks like, you mentioned waterboarding, you mentioned this. I understand the military tactics that are training you for exposure that could result in major injury, and so you're prepping your mind and your body for that. But what are these normal dudes doing?
I don't know exactly what would motivate you to go to one of these camps. Maybe it's a weird fetish thing. I could 100% see that. You have to be an individual who thrives off of pain. Maybe it excites you. I think of Chuck Rhodes from Billions. You would love a camp like this.
Okay, so
if Billions in a few more seasons, I suggest sending him to this camp for an hour or two. So it's getting a whole bunch of heat online because everyone's like,
because it's not like a weight loss camp. It's not like
it's a I don't feel like I'm a big of a man as I could be, so I'm going to go to this camp so that they can turn me into an alpha male. Yeah, it's a real thing.
I don't have words. I genuinely don't. And so for those who can't see the video, it's
just Google alpha male boot camp.
It's basically a bunch of dudes being tortured half naked.
They're not half naked. They're wearing shorts and t-shirts.
Well, there they are. They weren't a little while ago. Okay,
anyway,
so let's move
MDK
on.
Project.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Where are you mentally that this is?
Yeah, man. Well, okay. So hold on. So the reason I put that in there is this goes back to some of that, that conversation about people and growing up with issues at home or growing up with issues with their parents,
right?
And then having that bubble up to the top of their lives, and what does that do? Like it creates mental breakdowns. It creates midlife crisis. It creates all these. It manifests in all these different ways, and so. It's as dumb as I think that is personally not my cup of tea. I'm not going to say dumb. That's unfair. There may be people who that's the thing that makes them feel better, and you know what? Good for them. More power to them. But I feel like we're reaching a time where it seems like and maybe it's because we're more attuned to it because of our age or whatever, but it seems like just in the last year, you have found more people who are trying to get in touch with the male psyche, like you know what I mean? Like, and I think maybe again it might just be the people we're around, like our friend up in Austin who does work with men.
But that's like getting in tune with your emotion, like the emotional and the
mental
mental
but I'm
state.
saying I know, but what I'm saying is overall there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot more work being done for men to become.
I don't know if you can see my face, but I'm bewildered, like completely unsure of what I just saw, and I'm trying I'm trying to understand why.
Okay, so you ready? What if there was a women's boot camp to get you back to being a feminine woman?
Well, hold on. I was just going to say, is that the same thing? What would that look like? Well, is that the same thing as a female taking etiquette classes or a cooking class or?
Well, I don't feel like etiquette's a female thing. Etiquette's a
But traditionally, when you think of
it's like home ec, dude.
Like how to properly have a tea party.
Do they still do home ec in schools?
I don't know. I haven't been in school for a little while.
Yeah. I wonder.
I don't know what to say about that. I feel like.
But that's what I'm saying is that it seems like now there's all these different programs or things that guys can do to get more back in touch with being.
I'm gonna walk down this rabbit hole. You tell me.
Walk all over my words. Queen of interrupting this morning. What are you reading? You interrupt me and then you stop.
No, I'm reading the comments because somebody brought up a good point, and I'm not using names, so not mentioning your name, but it's in the comments. What defines a man?
That's
right?
The thing.
And so so when we look at society as a whole, and we think of kind of just generalizations. I'm no expert, and I don't have any facts to back up anything that I'm saying other than my own opinion. We look at what for a while was a huge deal about single moms, right? About there not being a man in the house. Mm-hmm. And so what does that look like when you're raising sons? Mm-hmm. And how do they show, or how do they, mimic when someone's not home, right? Because all little boys want to be just like their daddies. And how do you feel like this is like a direct result?
That's literally what I just said.
Right. So it's taking me a minute to process, right? What you said, and you didn't say it that way, so I wasn't understanding
Let me
it.
go back and say what I said again before.
Okay.
Let's rewind. I feel like now we're in a time where there is a stronger focus and more programs and talk generally available for men who want to get back in touch with being a man, quote unquote, big air quotes, right? And I say that because I've seen there's different things that show up on Instagram. There's people that do quote unquote men's work. There's people that, and even RGV dads, like not to lump them into the $18,000 alpha male boot camp, but things where people are trying to get back in touch with what it's like to be that male figure in your own life, in your kids' lives, in your family's lives, whatever it is. And that's not something that I feel like we have traditionally seen. I think back on all the years, I don't think the clubs that my dad went to when I was a kid, well, he was in, like Rotary or the Chamber of Commerce or, Lions Club or whatever, but those weren't, I mean, I guess some of them were more male associated.
All of those clubs still exist.
But that's what I'm saying is that then there was a place where dudes could go be dudes and like do the dude bonding, thing. And now it feels like there's not, if you look at the grand, the landscape, there's not places that are celebrated for men to go be men. And I know that's kind of controversial to say, but it's like there's nowhere, like there's no stag parties anymore. There's nowhere where it's great for girls to have girls' night out, but then when dads do, hey, we're gonna go do dad's night out, they're like, oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go Twin Peaks? Well, yeah, man, their beer's cold. But the point is that I feel like what I have seen, and I'm not saying I'm a part of any of these or that I condone or whatever, but I'm just saying that I think what I have seen over the last 5 years, 6 years, is now you're finally seeing people who want to reinsert themselves into that quote-unquote male
role.
I was going to say box, but that was funny because then it's like mailbox.
Right.
Mailbox. Anyway. But whereas before, it's like even in the Rio Grande Valley, you have all these different women groups. Like there's women entrepreneurs and there's women this and there's women that and there's women here and there's women there and there's, but there's no like, the men's executives club of the Rio Grande Valley. Imagine.
Because it's just the executives club.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, well, why? But then there's all the women's executives clubs.
Because up until I'm not going to sit here and argue feminist stuff, but it is traditionally it's always been male dominated.
Fair.
So having a women's group just made it more comfortable instead of walking into a room full of men.
But my point is that now you're starting to see the rise of those things, and that alpha male $18,000 deal is the same. Like at what level is it where guys want to be guys so bad that they're willing to fork over $20,000 and get berated so that they can walk out and feel like a man? Like, what does that say about our culture?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That men don't feel like men and women don't feel like women.
Well, but that in itself is difficult to define. What exactly makes a man? What exactly makes a woman? Right? What are we talking about here? And then we're all so different.
We're dealing with the subject as touchy as how can we have a Black History Month, Hispanic History Month, but we don't have a White History Month? Yeah, same concept, right? It's right. But I feel like. Yeah, that what I'm saying, Mario, is that like this is if all of a sudden there became in the last 5 years there became something to have more history months that were more that included every different group you can possibly imagine. What I'm saying is over the last 5-6 years you've seen more of the male stuff starting to creep up,
right?
And this is an interesting peak in that where it's like, wow, this is getting a whole lot of attention because I think that there's a lot of work that guys have to do. They have their own emotional issues that they have to deal with. They have their own set of feelings that they have to deal with that aren't the same as female.
That's what men's work is.
It is. And that's what I'm saying. Men's work wasn't even a thing 10 years ago. Right. It was like there was no men's work. Right. It was go hang out with the guys and go drink some beer at the Rotary Club. And it wasn't actually doing work, getting in touch with who you are and why you have these feelings and what they bring out of you.
Well, but that's been years of trauma that now people are trying to unpack.
That's my point, is that we're finally getting to that age. So this is a peak in that where it's like, whoa, to me, that's kind of on the
extreme side. It just seems
side.
Abusive. It seems almost, it seems like you're doing more. That's
what I'm saying. Like why, how screwed up are we as society that's how far people feel like they have to go in order to feel validated or vindicated for being a male role model.
But that's society as a whole. When you stop and think about even, hate to go back to the pornography conversation, but it's so extreme, right? Like there's no normal sex on porn. It's all extreme.
Not in Texas, since it's been banned.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know
everything
what you
has just got to be an insane extreme. We
But
can't
that's
just
different.
be.
That sells that's what people pay for. They pay for
Well,
the
you're
extremities.
paying for this crazy extreme boot camp.
That's true.
So again, living in a society where you need the extreme and to thrive.
This is the conversation we're having where it's like,
I
at
gotta
what point is
yeah,
like,
I
you got to
gotta
punch me in the kidney
or I'm not
to
gonna
get off.
anywhere. So that part is fascinating that we really are in a culture of extreme this way.
Yeah,
now,
man.
the female perspective or the female counterpoint to that is, I mean, I really don't know.
I don't know. Is
I
that
have
that's
no
what I'm
idea.
saying? Is there?
What does a woman's camp look like?
Man, I can make all kinds of comments that everyone would get
but
mad about.
Don't make the comments.
It's a joke, though.
I know. Don't make the comments, but yeah, I don't know what an extreme female camp would look like.
Yep. Well,
It doesn't sound fun.
no, it doesn't sound fun.
No, I'm thinking like maybe it's like a glam day. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
can get your hair done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, okay, that was a
For over a year, House Republicans, led by House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Jimmy Comer, a Kentucky Republican, House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, an Ohio Republican, have been investigating the Biden family for a while now, for over a year. They've been spending lots of money. They've convened this whole group of people to get together to find charges alleging that the president was involved with and benefited from his son Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings when he was serving under former President Barack Obama. So let's get this straight. Barack Obama is the president. Biden is the vice president. His son was out doing stuff, and they're saying that he did stuff that compromised the United States. And so they've launched this whole investigation to try and impeach our current president because of things that his son did while he was the vice president. Mm-hmm. That's what the story is that Hunter Biden.
Right.
Representative Don Bacon, a Nebraska Republican, last night told NBC News on Sunday that according to lawyers hired by Congress, quote, at this point, there's not a specific crime that has been committed by President Biden in the impeachment probe against him. And it's crazy because if you saw 2 weeks ago, they were doing this whole thing where a Democrat came out and said, okay, you guys, you're wasting taxpayers' dollars. You're wasting millions and millions of dollars. You're wasting all this money. If you have the information in front of you, why are we messing around? If he's done something terrible, let's impeach him. Let's do it right now. Everyone is sitting on the stage. Everyone is here. And the guy goes, you know what? I'll make it easy for you. I will call for the president's impeachment. And so this Democrat congressman says, okay, I'm calling for impeachment of Joseph R. Biden. Can I get a second? And he looks at Comer and he looks at Jim Jordan and says, all you got to do is say yes, and then we can go. And they wouldn't do it. He called him out. Everyone's been calling him out. Like, dude, you guys, this president has committed no crimes. There's nothing on the books. There's nothing on the records. There's nothing showing that the president committed any impeachable offense, period, full stop. Oh, but his son and meth and his son and son's not running for president. Let's make that clear. His son didn't put the president in a compromising situation. And now they're saying that there is not enough evidence. There's no evidence that he has committed a specific crime in the impeachment probe. So why are these people continuing to push the rhetoric that we need to impeach the president? Why? Because we did it to the other guy who did some horrendous stuff while he was in office?
Well, that and because you like to follow the rumor mill, right? Well, like people always want to believe
yeah, but it's
the
costing
salacious.
millions and millions and millions of taxpayer dollars,
Well,
right?
People still want to believe the salacious. They want to feel like there's something wrong, and we got to have an uproar.
Well, election year.
I'm so bored with all of that. By the way,
So bored with the state
I'm
of.
so bored that everybody just hates everybody.
Okay, so here's interesting from the New York Post that I haven't logged into. Good. U.S. students have become chronically absent in schools.
Explain.
The number has gone from, I don't have it loaded.
Like physically absent?
Like absent. People aren't going to school anymore. Kids aren't going to school anymore.
You have to go to school.
Nope, they're not going. And more importantly, I guess, teachers are not going to school also. Basically, ever since COVID, that whole work from home culture thing,
Yeah.
people aren't going to school. The numbers are staggering.
Look, I like the flexibility of being able to work from home, but let's be honest, you don't get very much done. At least I feel like you got to go to an office at some point, or you got to go to class to
29.7% of students were chronically absent in the 2021 to 2022 school year. 29. That's 1 in 3. 1 in 3 students.
Okay.
Attendance work analysis also found that elementary schools and middle schools are affected by high rates of absence than before the pandemic. In recent years, they've built up strategies to encourage attendance, but the numbers have been pretty insane. And the New York Times did a big article on it.
Did it say why? They were like, what are the reasons? Why are they absent?
No.
Other than that they don't want to go.
K-12 absenteeism has increased. No,
So do they have an option to do it from home, and that's why?
I don't know.
Like, why actually go in if I can just take out my computer and participate?
But can they? Can they still do that? Is that still a thing?
I mean, we work from home some days, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm assuming. I'm not. I don't know. I will say that I don't know what you do. I had someone recently tell me that their kiddo just decided that they didn't want to go to school anymore, and
what do you do? Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
What do you do?
I have no idea.
How do you enforce that? If your kid's like, "Hey, I don't want to go to school anymore," how do you turn around and be like?
Well, then, but it like poses different issues, right? Like if your child doesn't want to go to school, and they don't get up, and they're not moving, and they're big enough where I can't physically move them, and I have to go to work, and I know my responsibilities have to get done. I'd imagine that on a scenario 1 or 2, you're like, you know what, screw it, stay in bed. You'll deal with the outcome of that. But then what happens when it becomes like a real thing and they genuinely don't want to go? And what is the option there?
So the question is that an issue with the student, an issue with the parents, or an issue with the school?
Well, I think it's an issue with the parent. But then, I mean, I don't know. Once your kids get to be a certain age,
what I'm saying
there's
is that
nothing
the school itself, if the school is so boring that the kid isn't getting anything out of it, and the kid isn't being challenged.
Isn't that such an extreme way of thinking, though? Because it's easy to say, oh, my child is bored. They're not getting anything out of it. Bull. There are some interesting things and there are some very boring things. They're both sides to that. You can't be bored for all 8 periods.
It's true.
And then in the very least, you've got your social stuff, right? Like, okay,
what if you're
screw
not a very
it.
social person?
I'm going to go to school so I can at least have lunch with my friends and staying at home in my room.
What if you don't have money to eat lunch at school? I'm hitting all your pitfalls here.
But lunch is free at school.
No, lunch is not free at school.
Yes, it is.
Not for everybody.
It's free in Texas. It is free to eat lunch. Yes, at all grade levels.
Is it?
In public school, it is.
It wasn't when I was a kid.
That was 100 years ago, and things have changed.
Yeah, thank you, children.
Things have changed, so I don't know what you do.
Speaking of schools, Palmview High School. Did you read the news this morning? No, that's a no.
No, I didn't read the news.
I'll let you
honey.
read this headline. Ready? Read it.
Former Palmview High School special ed teacher admits to sexually coercing over 50 children. What is wrong with the world?
Yeah, man. Former Palmview High School special education teacher pleaded guilty Friday to coercion and enticement of a minor. Juan Carlos Munoz, 42 years old, of Mission, was arrested on December 16, 2022 at Palmview High School, where he'd been employed for 14 years. Munoz told special agents over the last 3 years he's solicited over 50 minor children via the internet for nude images and video. A news release for the U.S. Attorney General's Office, Southern District of Texas, said one of the victims was a 14-year-old girl from South Carolina he met on a social chat site. He used a fake name and claimed to be a 19-year-old when requesting nude photos.
Okay, so I don't know. We need to call in the experts. How do you get your kid to go to school?
You know what was right below that?
How do you get your kid not to send pictures of themselves?
Right below that this morning.
What?
Let's see. Internet's not cooperating. There were 2 stories about that this morning, and there was another teacher that was coercing students using Instagram. McAllen admits using Instagram to sexually coerce children.
Well, your children shouldn't be on Instagram. Let's just put that out there.
23-year-old, and this goes back to the thing. Remember that people think that it's dirty old men. Dirty old men is subjective in the sense that it's not old. This is, 40 may be old to some people, but the age bracket for when this stuff happens is from 16 to 45.
Right.
23-year-old man, McAllen pleaded guilty on Friday to using Instagram. Israel Ruiz was arrested on March 15th and been using social media.
But what's a 9-year-old doing on Instagram? Right, so like
Special agents
parents
came
need
in
to pay
contact with a
attention.
9-year-old girl who created child sex abuse material for an adult. For an adult, they were investigating. So an adult had asked that 9-year-old to do things.
I don't get it.
He was getting the 9-year-old to do things.
Oh.
broke the screen, Android hid the phone. Anyway,
Oh man. Okay.
there's lots of this nasty stuff going around. So this goes back to our daughter asked us for an Instagram account.
Yep, she did.
She said she wanted an Instagram
And the
account.
answer is no.
Legally, at age 13, she can get an Instagram account according to Instagram, not according to her parents.
Not
But
according to our home.
we have friends whose kids have Instagram. Yep. I would just ask that you monitor your kids vigorously.
Yeah. Monitor all the messages that are going out.
Yeah, man.
And I know we talk a lot about the Bark app, but it doesn't catch absolutely everything.
It doesn't.
And then sometimes it does become a little frustrating, right, to go through all of the
Alerts?
because
Some of them are all group chats and song
it'll-
lyrics.
Right. So the kids have a lot of group chats and they have a lot of song lyrics
I'm
on
the
there.
fool that shot him. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Oh, wait, it's just Hamilton again.
Yeah. So it is it's a lot. Yes, they're asking if our child has a phone. Yes.
Our daughter does have a phone. Our son does not have a phone.
Right. But the phone was imperative in the sense of, pickups and drop-offs and changing of schedules and extracurriculars and wanting to know where she was at and all of that good
It
stuff.
started as us just saying we're going to give her a phone just so she can contact us, but that didn't last very long.
No, it didn't last very long at all. And before you know it, there were lots of group chats and lots of
I'm not
exploring, right? Like she was getting on and researching things and nothing bad, but eye-opening. I think, little minds are curious, and I don't like that. I shouldn't have said little minds. A young mind is curious, and they want to explore and learn. And so before you know it, you're Googling a whole lot of stuff, and you can't control what's out there. And
That's
so
right.
our biggest thing has always been like, ask us. And so nothing is off the table in the Lens house. We can talk about absolutely anything. Doesn't mean that they are comfortable talking to us about anything, but I rip off the Band-Aid and talk about all sorts of nonsense.
You have made for some very uncomfortable conversations.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
That's it. Nothing. No, I don't know. I have nothing. I think it's fascinating to learn more about how we're supposed to, parent. I was really perplexed about, that mom asking, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my kiddo. How do I get them out of the house if they physically don't want to go? And I just thought to myself, that is a tough situation to be in, because I have no idea how you force a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old out of the house to get to school. And even if you do physically get them in school, how do you get them to participate?
Well, they don't want to be there to begin with, so
Right.
it doesn't do any good if they don't want to be there.
So I did find it refreshing that this particular mother had found alternative things to entice, right? Like talking about, okay, well, if you don't want to go the traditional method, right, we don't want to get your diploma, then let's go ahead and talk about just getting your GED and then working towards, a 2-year program so that you can have something to fall back on, which I thought was refreshing, right? Because I think all of us are so hung up on the traditional way of doing things.
I don't think so. I think that is a changing tide. I think there's a lot more.
I'm so hung up on the traditional ways of doing things that when even a little bit goes off the norm, I have a hard time putting all that in my head and quickly pivoting to something else, right? It takes me a solid while before I'm like, okay, let's open up to a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
And then that very much of, you're going to do it because I'm making you do it because I said so comes out, and it's not right.
Okay, so I mean, just to put it out there,
because I tend to parent that way.
But hold on, but that's
for the most part.
I mean, I don't know who your friend is that you're talking about, but what I will say is that a problem like that doesn't just come out overnight. There's got to be something that leads into that. And I'm not trying to point fingers and be all blamey.
Yeah.
I'm not at all, because everyone deals with their own individual issues. But there's something what you're talking about, a kid who wakes up and says, I don't want to go to school today. That's a symptom. That's not a cause, right? There's a causation factor there that's a symptom of. The fact that kid feels emboldened enough to tell their parents, I'm not going to do this, and there's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
That's an issue, right? That's an issue that started long before they figured out they didn't want to go to school. This is rebellion at its finest. This is a kid being a kid at its finest. And real talk, this is something that has roots way deeper than them not wanting. This isn't about academics. It's not
Right.
about, this is a power struggle, right? And this is a kid being assertive with what they want and doing that because they feel like they need to show out, or they feel like they can, and there's nothing the parent can do about it. There's a lot. You're talking about something that's way more deep seated than the kid.
Okay,
I don't want to go to school. School sucks.
Fair enough. But how do we get ahead of that?
Therapy.
Therapy. So
No, I mean you set the precedent that this is acceptable behavior, this is unacceptable behavior, and it sounds easy to say and way more difficult to do, but how you treat your children every single day for all of their elementary school lives and all of their junior high lives leads into this. Every single day, it leads into it. You can have one bad day that can pivot the entire focus of your kid's academic career. One day. It's about making sure that every day you don't wake them up screaming at them. You make them feel comfortable going to school. You make sure that they're safe and secure and going into an environment that they feel confident and comfortable with. And maybe they're having issues with other students. Maybe they're having issues with their grades. Maybe they're having issues with the teacher. It's up to you as a parent, in my opinion, to be there to head that off.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we do a good job.
No, we have one.
We might do a terrible job at it.
Some days are not so good. Right, we're all human.
But it takes actively doing this every day, because if you take your eyes off of it for 1 second, and it could be any second, and that second isn't up to you as a parent. If you're not 100% locked in, there's issues that can create. And I know that that's a difficult thing to say.
I mean, it's all difficult.
But if someone told me that, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, go fuck yourself. Because I'm like, dude, I travel. What do you want me to do? I've got a job. I have to be at an airport. Dude, yeah, I'm fully aware of the ramifications of what my actions are. I'm fully aware that me leaving and not being here and having to travel, or you not being here and having to travel, I'm completely aware of the effect that can have on the child. Completely aware.
Right.
It's up to the other parent to make up for that.
Right.
It's up to working as a team and saying, look, I got to be out of town. I need you to go to the soccer game. Instead of saying, oh, your dad's not here, your dad's traveling, or your mom's not here, she forgot about us, she moved on. Like, even jokingly, that's not something that's okay to say,
right.
Because that buries something in the kids where they start to think that that's actually that there's a possibility that could be true. Right. So it's up to us as parents to make sure that every single day we're doing our best to make sure that the kids are taken care of. They're going to be on their own sooner than you know it. You know, I have the benefit of being able to look back and look at the older ones and go, God, I can tell you everywhere that I screwed up with Brandon, Andrew, and Emma. I can tell you everywhere. Like, I could tell you every conversation that I shouldn't have had with them, or that things I shouldn't have said. But I only get that perspective because I've been through it, and I've seen how that forks the road. And I think that with parents, when you're parenting, you have to be active. Like, you have to parent. You have to be an active parent that parents with intention of making sure that the kid is in an environment that they can grow up and be the best version of that kid that they can be. So
there's something that you learned a while back that I thought was excellent.
And I'm not saying that I'm doing it. I'm saying that I look at that, and that's what I strive to do. And I might really suck at it, but I'm seeing the map, and I'm looking at it going, oh, don't turn left there,
and for
dude.
anybody listening, we are not professionals. We have no idea what we're doing. We're parenting. That's all we're doing, to the best of our ability. And I think that's what I think that we have a lot of open conversations.
All 7 people on Instagram are very worried about our professional
but we have very open dialogues, right? And when there's something that you do that I don't necessarily agree with, I call you on it, and vice versa. I think we're both very open with one another, like, hey, been down that road, let's try something else. And we're not always super respectful of each other's feelings, right? We're human, and we're heated, and we're mad, and there's things that, you know, we blow gaskets and all that other stuff happens. It's all normal. But we try so hard to learn from those mistakes. And again, I look at your, you know, you have the experience, right? So there's plenty of times that I'll say, hey, did you see this? Have you seen this? What would you do here? How do we handle this? And we neither one of us ever really knows. But there was something that you learned a while back that will always forever sit in my head. And it's the soil conversation, right?
Oh yeah, dude. That's so the quick story is, and I don't even know if he listens. I don't know how he'd feel about me sharing this. I don't think he'd mind.
Think you have to go into detail. Just talk about the soil.
There was a program that I got to take part in one way or another, in Arizona called the Anasazi program. And the Anasazi program it's a whole thing. It's a troubled kid thing. Blah 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 blah. You can look it up. It's. I went into it thinking I was going to hate it, and I walked out thinking, wow, I learned some great information from there.
You went in there with major reservations.
Huge reservations.
Didn't want to be there.
Well, I mean,
right.
That's a whole different podcast. If you want to know what it's like to send your child to a troubled youth camp, let me know. Not my decision, my ex-wife's decision, but you got to go along with it. That's part of parenting, is that you stand behind someone even when you completely disagree, or you give them the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, But one of the things that we learned there is one of their principles is that if you've got a tree that's not growing the way that it's supposed to, it might not be the tree's fault as much as it is the soil's fault. And if you take that tree out of that soil and you put it in good, fertile soil and you shower it with the correct amount of sun and water and nutrients, then that tree can flourish. And you can take a dying tree at just about any given time and pull it out of bad soil and stick it in good soil, and you can revive it. But the second you take that tree out of the good soil and you stick it back in the bad soil, you got to expect that tree to die. Right. And that was one of the things where it was taking every metaphor you can imagine, taking a child out of an environment that is a bad environment, an unhealthy environment, and creating a good environment for them to flourish. And the problem is that when you're in a household, if the household has a bad environment, you can't really transplant, right?
Well, no,
but what you can do is you can find other things to provide the nutrients and provide everything else. And this goes back to the whole conversation of finding those, we've had lots of friends. Everybody has lots of friends that have been divorced, right? And some of those divorces are absolutely okay. Some of them,
right.
not they're all okay. It's someone asserting one way or another. But you get to a point where you look at some of those marriages and you go, man, they're killing the kids by continuing to stick together for the sake of the kids. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you're both being shitty parents together. Why not split up and be good parents individually instead of bad parents together?
That is a hard thing to even process, right? Like, we think, well, we got to stay together for the children, right? Like, you start to...
At what point do you look at each other and go,
say,
hey,
oh, wait a minute.
I really don't like you, and we're destroying our children.
But then
why don't we split?
But the reason I like that metaphor so much, when it pertains to my life, right, and in the situations that we're in, is that we're not perfect, and that there's days that maybe my soil is a little toxic, right? Maybe your soil is a little...
You tend to taint the soil.
And maybe your soil is a little ruined.
Wonderful. Oh,
and so when you have your bad day, right, you forgot. I like to think of it as shit, I forgot to water the plant today, right?
Yes, that's exactly.
And I can give myself a little grace knowing that tomorrow will be a better day, and we will water the plant tomorrow, and we have hope, right, that plant will continue to thrive, or that tree will continue to thrive and to do well. And
and I think the thing also is that being in a marriage is a partnership, even as a managerial partnership. The days that you can't water the plant, maybe it's my time to water the plant.
Right.
And the days I can't water the plant, maybe it's your turn to water the plant.
That is really beautifully said.
Because it takes both of us to do it. And there's times that I can't be there physically, or you can't be there physically to do it, and you just expect the other person to do it.
Or there's a day that you're in a mood, right? And I've got to step up and be like, okay, well, today's just not a co-parenting day. It's just a Jessica day. Just kidding. But no, we have our moments, right? And that's where when I'm not at my best, hopefully you step in. And then when you think of it from a single parent household, that gets increasingly difficult, right?
Yes.
So
Finding
takes a
someone
village,
to help water
right?
your
Like
plant.
find someone to help you water the plant, whether that be mom or dad or grandparents or whatever. Sometimes you just need a little outside perspective in order to get that plant.
But then then that's the bigger subject, right? Is there a difference between male water and female water? When you're watering the plant, you do it in one way. When I water the plant, I do it in a different way. And that goes back to the whole, are we making sure that our kids are rounded out?
So that they don't need a boot camp
So that they don't turn around and go, my dad didn't whip me, I don't whip the kids. But
No, you just have to raise your voice, and we're all like, whoa, at attention.
Yeah,
because it doesn't happen often, right? Like, it's not like you're...
No, that was the coolest thing about throat surgery, man. That's when I got throat surgery. I don't like to yell anymore at all. Even if it's like trying to get people to do so. I was telling the coach this, our daughter's softball coach. I said, hey, man,
we don't yell.
I've yelled plenty. You yell. You're the coach.
Yeah, I can't yell.
If you need me, I'll be over here taking photos, but I'm not going to yell.
Yeah,
I take pictures at sports games so I don't get too involved. I don't have to yell at the top of my lungs. Because if I put that camera down, I'm getting involved.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out what sport we're on.
Yeah.
What ball is that?
Oh, my God.
Are we in an inning? Is it halftime yet?
And your favorite question
Football.
every game. God, how long is this game?
They're so long. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Softball is really long.
It's so wonderful though, and she's doing so well.
She's doing fantastic, but it doesn't change the fact that it's really long.
Astros lost to the Yankees 4 games in a row, and Tony Fodina had no problem rubbing it in my face this morning.
I'm so sorry.
FYI,
Tony,
up
you
yours,
just-
Tony.
Just grind his gears. Tony. Also, you've mentioned a bunch of names after you told me to pipe down and not say any
Tony
names.
is
but
fair game.
I just want everyone to point out that Drew is okay to do it,
yes.
but Jessica is not okay to do it.
Because you mentioned personal, private things. I'm talking about the
What
Astros
personal,
and the Yankees.
private thing did I talk? I was reading.
What if he didn't want anyone to know
to
that
read
he
the
could sing?
comment that he put on a public forum?
I mean,
It wasn't a bad thing. I was gonna say I'm sure the voice is delightful.
I can't imagine.
I know. We should
We're talking about the same one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We should ask
I
him to sing
I
something for
can't
us.
picture him singing at all.
I know.
I'm picturing him riding, like driving his boat, like through the cut, like singing like Gaston
I'm
at
sure
the
he's
top
like
of his
totally
lungs.
mortified right now. Like, oh my god, they're still talking
No
about me.
one fishes like Gaston. No one surfs like Gaston. Whatever.
Okay, well.
I miss Disney, FYI. I think you and I need a date. We need a Disney date.
We need a Disney date, or
You
we
and
just
I.
need a date.
No, you. Well,
I
we
thought
definitely
you were
need
gonna
a
ask me
date.
for a date.
Dude, last time I asked you for a date at this exact table, you
Well,
said you'd have
ask
to.
again.
No, you can
Oh.
ask me on a date.
Well,
It's 2024. You shouldn't be scared to ask me on a date. You can pick up the tab. I ain't got a job.
oh my god.
Yay! Week number 4, or how many weeks?
Oh yeah, really. Let's not count.
Yay!
I don't like it. That how to make Jessica uncomfortable. Here we are.
Oh, it's fun.
All right, and just like that, it's 11:05. Gotta go.
No, we still have a few. No, I'm
No,
just
I
kidding.
really gotta go have a call at
All right.
11:30.
Let's get to catch up with you. I need more coffee. Ooh.
Have a Celsius.
Have a Celsius.
All right.
All right. Well.
Anyway, I hope we didn't offend anybody.
Oh, I'm sure we did, but that's part of the fun.
That's never the intention. We're just having an open conversation and just happen to be recording it. Don't listen to us.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to walk over there and turn everything else and let you say bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week. Make sure you get the shades for the eclipse that's happening. Yeah. Other than that, have a good one.